Hello, this is Phyzix Teacher with a commentary on one of the rank games that happened earlier today, where I was the dealer, or the red player that's in the middle of the map. So it looks like I start off with a straight in my opening hand, which is always really nice. Lets you build that first building and have it ready by round 3. One thing I want to mention is the 5 infantry that you start with. My goal as any player is to try and turn those 5 infantry into gold as efficiently as possible and as quickly as possible. So I generally like to take tier 2 tiles because it instantly turns 3 of those infantry into 3 gold. And I always take the gold option all the way up until I have a level 3 capital, because level 3 capital is kind of the most important milestone for heading into the late game. The sooner you get that, the more ahead you are in gold than every other player. So especially as the red player, where capital defense is really important because you are in the middle of the map, you're a little more vulnerable. Getting that level 3 capital as soon as possible, ideally by round 5, is super critical. So I take a second level 3 tile because I see that if I add some troops onto the first tile that I took, that would allow me to get a level 2 capital by round 2. And generally, as the red player, you want to try and get the level 2 capital round 2. Because you have that extra gold and extra attack point, it's usually pretty trivial to do that. Assuming you don't try and take a level 3 tile early. And if you take a level 3 tile early, you generally have to wait until round 3. So first kind of thing on my mind, as you see I built an economist, is I'm trying to generate some trades with other players so that I can start to form some alliances. It's really important as the red player to try and get players on your side. I mean, it's really important for any player, really. But especially for red, you're individually positioned to make those alliances early. So green, they take an adjacent tile to my tier 2. I know that they can't take my economist because remember that troops only have 1 stamina, so after he's attacked this tile, this troop cannot move on to this tile. He also doesn't have more attack points, but just in case, it's really important to realize that after infantry attack, you do not need to worry about another attack from those same infantry because they only have the 1 stamina. So yeah, as I was saying, making these alliances, I'm realizing that orange and green are kind of down to team up. So I'm going to try and encourage orange and green to work together as well, because a 3-player alliance is really powerful in Duper, given that the map is it's a 5-player game. So if you can get that asymmetrical 3 versus 2, you're in a really good spot, and people feel really safe and not as willing to like break up a 3-player alliance as they are like a 2-player alliance, just because it is 2 other players that they're working with. Purple looks like they're heading for me as well. I do get the combo reward. I'm not going to raise though because it's so early in the game. It'd be really risky to do so. I'm thinking I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. Purple's going to head over and start talking to me as well. Looks like blue started off with taking a level 3 tile, so they've got an extra attack point stored, and they're going to have a little bit slower of a development in the early game. So to start talking with purple, they initiated trade. I'm getting pretty lucky with trades this game. A lot of players have initiated trades with me. I haven't had to really hand out any gems yet, which is really nice. And I haven't really needed to trade much either, although that will change once my current goal kind of is like, okay, I want to build out a fort researcher. I've got a tank already, so I can take tiles pretty efficiently with that. I can take the tier 1s for free. I also used the tank to take the tier 3 over here. And notably, when I did that, I took the tier 1 here for free next to my base, moved the tank back, and then used troops plus the tank supporting to take the tier 3. So that's a little trick you can use with tanks and other units that have more than one stamina, is attacking, moving them back, and then placing infantry on the tile that they just attacked. Purple made a pretty aggressive move here. They took a tile adjacent to my capital. I'm gonna assume that it's probably more out of ignorance than like malicious intent, because it's pretty early in the game, and I'm probably playing with some new players, so it's not a big deal. I do just ask them to like move their troops off, because I don't want to just be attacked out of nowhere. I end up getting another 7 from the green player, so I'm going to build a fort researcher with that third 7, because you can build buildings with either a straight or 3 of a kind, and 3 of a kind is a really strong combo for the combo rewards as well, which will be 3 infantry next turn. I want to highlight one thing while the game kind of plays out here. I put my fort researcher here, and that is a signal to orange in a few ways. One, that I trust orange because, you know, they have the ability to steal this building if they really want to. And 2, by putting a fort researcher here means I can't put a fort here. And so this is kind of a signal of like friendship or trust in a couple of ways. I want to highlight, there's this 3x3 box, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. This box here is the best places to put forts, because they have the most access to critical tiles, things adjacent to capitals to support. I'll probably put an image in the guide as well, highlighting what that is, because I don't think it's very clear when I say it now. But and I just won another combo reward. Again, I don't think I'm gonna raise. It's pretty early in the game still. Typically don't raise until, you know, round 7 or so at the earliest, just because it is riskier to raise. Tips off players that, you know, there might be a good player to target, because if you raise, you're putting more stake into the game. So if you lose the game, that means that the other players get that stake. So yeah, it's risky to raise for sure. Anyway, purple saying they want to trade with me. Orange is good to do, you know, some gem swaps. I'm checking in with green as well. You don't want to ever leave like communication channels dark for too long, and make sure that you're still working with each other. Looks like green and orange haven't made friends yet. That's fine. And then green finally gets back to me. Don't worry, you safe. Very convincing, green. Very convincing. Just seeing what their plan is, like what they're thinking about. I like to try and keep my wits about me in terms of understanding like what other players are just thinking about, and you can usually tell if things are genuine or not based on how they respond to certain things. And so we're approaching round 5, or sorry, we're approaching round 6, and my fort researcher I know is going to be ready in round 7. And so one thing I neglected to mention last round, or this round, round 5, is that I stored an attack point that round. I did that because I'd already gotten my level 3 capital, which I used an econ conference to do. And there wasn't really a huge reason for me to get any more gold this specific round. And so I found that it's generally a lot better to store an attack point when you specifically don't need the rewards for the tile that turn, because it gives you more options the following turn. So right now I have to use an attack point, so I'll just expand my boundaries a little bit. And I like getting this tile because it gives me access to attacking green a little bit better. I already have access to attacking blue and purple and orange through this tile, so this one lets me have some access to attacking green. And when I say access to attacking, I mean that I could attack their capital in 2 attack points, which is kind of the key number, because you can only store up to 2. Sometimes you can get away with 3, with buying an attack point from another player with your economist, but it's difficult to traverse 3 tiles with units having limited stamina and stuff like that. Okay, so we just all get an alert that purple is approaching a straight flush, so we kind of all go into panic mode, as the players typically do, because if they get that last card, then it's game over. So I only have 1 of purple's gems, so I'm definitely looking to attack them next turn. I'm glad that I stored an attack point earlier, because now I can use it in a way that will really impact the game, which is using 2 attack points to attack purple. And I don't even need, to use my economist buying a point to do that. I know my fort researcher, as I said earlier, is going to be ready in round 7. So my current plan is, as soon as purple's done here, once they tried to look for a card in the tier 2 tile, doesn't look like they found their straight flush. So my plan now is to destroy purple. So I'm going to just slow this down a little bit, because this is a pretty complicated turn. So in order to destroy purple, I need to use a unit that has non-1 stamina, so I can't use infantry. So I build a fort, put my tank in it, instantly attack purple so they can't reinforce this tile. Then with the tank, I can move that tank back into the fort, place another fort with a flush from my hand, and then put a bunch of infantry, including the combo reward infantry that I had saved, and attack purple to destroy their capital. So that all happened. That was all real time. That I do a lot of, that was a lot of clicking. It's very high APM. No, I'm just kidding. But you want to try and do that as quickly as possible, because it doesn't give them as a chance to react. And that's one of the reasons that I like to use 2 attack points, when attacking someone, rather than just telegraphing it and using, 1 attack over, or 2 attacks over 2 turns, because they're a lot less ready for it. So blue, and the nice thing is that all the players are really happy that I did that, because no one wanted purple to win with the purple to win with the straight flush. So I just do a gem swap with orange to try and keep them from taking one of my tiles, and they do a gem swap back, which I'm happy to oblige with. It looks like to me that this game is probably going to take a couple more rounds, so I need to keep my allies happy with some gems. I am only 2 tiles away from winning, and I don't decide to try and reach out to green at all, because I need to make sure to hold on to some of my own gems, and I'm choosing kind of blue and orange at this point to ally with. So I do expect, if green is going to act rationally, for them to take one of my tiles here. And I don't even defend the tile. In hindsight, I should have placed troops along these, but there was a lot going on. I'm talking to people, and I don't defend my tiles quite as much as I should have. But yeah, ideally I would have defended those in some way, but it's not the biggest deal. They were gonna probably dedicate quite a few troops and quite a bit of gold to take one of the tiles anyway. So they end up taking the tile that makes it really hard for me to attack them, which I really like this tile that they took, because now it would require me 3 attacks for me to get to their capital, which is more than I'll be able to do for a long time. So I'm sitting here, blue's gonna go there. It looks like they've been asking me if I need their attack point, so I know that they're kind of waiting in the wings for me. They have 2 of my gems. I don't know where the random gems got distributed because I didn't get them when I killed purple. So I know that either orange, green, or blue have an extra 2 of my gems that aren't being recorded up here in the top left. Unfortunately, there's not really a good way for me to learn what that is without attacking them. I'd have to attack them and witness what the gem bonus is that they get in defense. And by the time I'm attacking them, I'm already kind of committing, okay, I'm breaking our alliance essentially. Not necessarily, I guess, but that's generally the case. If you attack someone, they don't really want to be your friend anymore. Blue is going as far as to say, like, take whatever you need from me. I'll move my troops off my tiles. You can take those tiles and win the game, which is obviously a really, great teamwork, and is really common in late game scenarios where players are trying to work with their ally and get them uncontested tiles. Of course, to do that, they do want another gem. So for now, I'm going to save an attack point because going up to 9 here from 8 isn't doing a whole lot. And I'm not ready to break any alliances and make any aggressive moves. I'm also really concerned about green. They didn't level up their capital to level 3. So in the short term, they have quite a bit of gold. In the long term, the level 3 capitals will win out. And so I'm happy being patient and kind of playing this slow. But I am pretty worried about like green's forts and troops here. And I'm thinking about like, okay, how am I going to reinforce these tiles so I don't stop losing tiles? Obviously, it would be great if orange like helped me out on this front. They've been my ally. They do have 3 of my gems. It could be 5. I'm not really sure. Blue over here is trying to figure out how the trades work, and they're figuring it out. So orange makes a great attack on green, which is really good for a few reasons. It decreases their tile count, the green player's tile count. So I'm less at risk of green winning the game, which would be really bad for me right now because I don't have nearly as many of green gems as I do of orange or blue. I've 7 of orange and 5 of blue, so I'm sitting really good in that regard. And so I told them really nice job. I do think if I was the orange player, I would be asking for more red gems at this point because I guess it depends. If they have 5, it's not as big of a deal. But if they only have 3, that was a really big attack that they just made. And it was really helpful for me. And so they're helping me win, essentially. And so they should be asking for more of my gems, if they can. So green is going to go, and I'm just hoping, praying that they don't take one of my tiles. I only have, I have 24 gold, so I could reinforce these. But I'm thinking longer term, and I'm thinking about if I need to destroy someone's capital, I'm going to need every single gold I can get. And so I'd honestly rather lose one of these tiles to green than bother with trying to split up my gold and then maybe not even defend it if they do attack it. So I'm just holding on to my gold. Also, they don't know I only have 1 troop on each of these, right? It's kind of a bluffing game too. So blue is moving their troops off of their tile so that, kind of clears the path for me to take uncontested tiles and potentially win the game. They have an attack point they're trying to sell me. I have 1 stored, which means I could theoretically take 3 tiles next turn. However, they are leaving themselves extremely vulnerable because because they're opening up a tile that's adjacent to their capital. So I'm just thinking here, okay, I've got 2 attack points. If I knock down, let me just pause it. If I knock down another capital, either orange or blues, then the win condition would go down to 10. It went down to 11 when I destroyed purple, and now it's going to go down, and it would go down to 10 if I destroyed blue, green, or orange. I don't have a means of getting to green with 2 attack points. I could potentially get there with 3, but looking at the gems, what's going to maximize my earnings in this game? Blue has 4, green has 1 of mine, and orange has 3. And then there's 2 mystery gems. I don't know where they are. And so I'm most incentivized to attack blue. Blue's been so nice to me. They've helped me out this whole game, or, you know, to some capacity have been my ally this whole game. However, they left themselves extremely vulnerable, and basically not only vulnerable, but an excellent target. Your allies are your greatest target, essentially, in the late game, if you can afford to attack them. I have 40 gold saved up because I didn't defend my tiles, and I have got this fort set up to support the attack that I do on blue. I don't have as much of a luxury in the orange department. They have less gems, and they also have a fort with a tank supporting their level 3 capital, which makes it way harder to kill, because this will take the damage before the level 3 capital will. Level 1 through 3 capitals have a death priority of 6. And so, yeah, the tank and the fort will die first. So this makes it pretty easy for me to decide that I'm going to dupe blue, essentially. That's what it's called when you kind of backstab one of your allies. And they've left. It's funny because I've been in this exact same situation as the blue player, where I put way too much trust in my ally and then been like the best target for them to destroy. And in the moment, it's extremely shocking, but it's a really important lesson that I hope all of you guys can learn from this game. Because by killing blue, I get all my gems back that blue had. And it looks like they had the 2 mystery gems, which was lucky for me because I got those gems back. Orange had 3, green only had 1, as was correct on the board. And I end up getting a pretty massive payout because of that. Reflections on this game: orange needed to ask for gems a little more aggressively, and blue obviously needed to shore up their defenses, or at least be ready to defend themselves or turn their capital in level 4 and run away with it when I decided to take their tiles. That's pretty much it. I hope this was helpful. I rambled way too much, and yeah, please put any questions in the comments, and I'm hoping we can do these more often, and also they'll probably get a little more coherent as I practice doing them. But thanks, guys.